Hello. This is my hair's wet again. I just like to put that clear because I don't want people to think that my hair's greasy. Yeah. I'm not looking at the camera because I'm looking in the mirror to record this because I've got an iPhone and I can't be able to do it on the front cam. Yeah. Just so that's clear. That's clear. I'm just carrying on the series of pet stories or whatever I called it. I cannot remember. But basically, we're skipping one, but it'll make sense when I go into it. We're doing 2 and 4 because 3 is, I'm not going to tell you because it'll spoil it a bit, but well, you could probably guess. But anyway, 3 is going to be something that's alive. These two are actually dead now, which is a bit of a shame, but they were still good pets, so I'm still going to do stories because there's a lot of story behind it, and maybe somebody would be in the same predicament I was. So yeah. So both of the stories pretty much start the same because they're actually connected, but you'll understand when I carry on. Basically, how it starts was, so I'm not picking my nose, I'm messing with my nose piercing. Okay. Basically, how the story goes is I started animal care about a year and a half ago now, and because this is what I want to do, this is the profession I want to go into. And so I did animal care, and I was like, I wasn't too confident with bugs and inverts completely. I was absolutely terrified of tarantulas, cockroaches, anything. Really, really like bugged me. But I was always interested in hissing cockroaches because it always amused me that when you went near them, one would hiss and they'd all hiss, and I found that really amusing. But they always interested me, but I never had the confidence to handle them or anything like that. And one day I went into, because I started going into the actual reptile shop I use now, which is Blue Lizard Reptiles. Who I'll speak of them a lot because I highly recommend them. They're a really good reptile shop. They've got a really good website, and anyway, I'll just put them in the description. But yeah, so I used them, and I went in, and I saw that they had hissing cockroaches in, and I went, "Can I have a look at them?" And me and the actual person who works there wasn't too confident about them, so we were both like lifting stuff up, like, and then and they were both under this little log, and I was like, "Oh, they're quite nice." And I was thinking to myself, I really want hissing cockroaches, but I've never handled them. But then a thought went through my head, which is a really smart thought, is buy them as pets, because if they're your pets, you have more of a like connection to them. So you want to, what's the word? You want to care for them, and to care for them, you will have to check them every so often just to make sure they're all right, and like move them into the tank and stuff like that. And so I thought, stuff it, I'm buying these hissing cockroaches, but I didn't actually ask permission. So I was like, I'd have to hide these. So I actually got home. My mum was home early, and I was like, oh, but they were in my bag because this is when it was warm, so they were fine. And they were in my bag, and I was like, oh, okay. So I snuck upstairs, and I put them in the thing, and I've got to handle them to get them out. So I picked one up, and it just started walking around my hand, and it didn't bother me. And I was like, what was the big deal? Why was I so scared? And I started handling it, and it was and they were really good to handle. And so I put them in the tank, and I hid them, and I hid these for about 3 months. I got my next preferred pet, and then I was hiding them, and it was like, oh, okay. But then I went and I got my fourth pet, which I went into the reptile shop, and I saw they had loads of scorpions in, and I had the choice between my forest scorpion, fully grown, which was a tank. It was ripping heads off adult locusts, and I was like, don't think I should get that if I know nothing about scorpions. And then I saw a red claw, and I didn't know much about red claws. I knew a bit about emperors, but not much. But I was like, oh, I don't know what that is, so I don't want to push it. So, well, push it or sneaking it in. But I went and I got an emperor, and I was like, which emperor should I pick? And I picked the biggest, smartest one, and I got him, and I brought him home, and I hid him as well. You can see like behind me, that's my bug closet, and I hid him in there. It was like, okay, I've had these for a few months, and then I got my fifth pet, and I was like, I think I'm pushing it now. I think I should tell my parents. So I went, Dad, look in his cupboard, and I showed him my hissing cockroaches, which were called Razor and Reaper. I forgot forgot to mention that. And my scorpion called Neil, and they weren't too happy. But then eventually they came round and they were like, "Can I have a look at that scorpion and cockroach?" And I'm like, yeah, I'll get them out. And I showed my parents, and for some bizarre reason, my mum fell in love with the scorpion, thought it was really funny. And so I kept him. And sadly, one of the cockroaches passed away 4 months after I had him, and one was 6 months, and then the scorpion died 8 months after I got him. But this is because they were wild caught, so I have no idea how old they are. Plus, emperor scorpions vary in size from adult sizes, from like 10 centimeters to 20, and that's crazy. Because you could get a massive female and a small male or something, and it'd be really hard to breed them, but be fully grown. So it's they're a bit of a odd species because of the massive size difference between adults. It's like 4-inch difference, which is a bit crazy. But yeah, so I kept them, and they were really good pets. And now, would I advise them? Hissing cockroaches, get them as your first invert. If you're not confident with inverts and you want to work in the business of keeping reptiles or working in pet shops, or not vets, but like a zoo or something, you'll have to get used to animals like this. So I'm not saying I know this, but it's better. It'll look better if you work with any animal, because you can work your way up to your prize animal, whatever you want to work with. It's mainly monkeys with people, but yeah. So whatever you want to work with, you'll probably have to work up, and there'll be positions you don't want to do. And if you're scared of an animal, it won't look very professional. So hissing cockroaches, I would advise as the first, because they are such good pets. They're hardy. They can live up to 2 years. Females can. I think males are cut to about a year. No, males are 2 years. Females are 3 to 5 years, which is crazy for a cockroach. I think they're the longest living species. Don't quote me on that, but I think they are. Which is crazy, and they're really good to handle because they're so calm. Plus, the males look awesome because they have horns. It's just, I've got a weird obsession for animals with horns. It's awesome. That's why I like horned baboons, but I won't go into that. But yeah, so I would advise them as pets. And emperors, if you want a scorpion, I know they may not look the most impressive scorpion. Get them as your first one, because you'll understand a lot about the scorpions. You'll understand the behaviour. And because tarantulas, you can read the body language usually, but scorpions, sometimes they can just sting out of nowhere. I'm not saying which specific species, because I don't want to quote one and someone say, "Oh yeah, but mine's fine." Every animal's different, but scorpions are quite unpredictable sometimes, so you want to get used to understanding one species first. And I'd go for emperor, because it's just perfect, absolute perfect pet. And that's all I've really got to say. There were 2 perfect pets. I did hide them at first, but then showed my parents and they actually really liked them. They were really good pets. Really, really easy to keep. I had no problems at all keeping them. I can't really think what else to say. I'll quickly show you what tanks I had them in, just so you know. So you know what. I actually kept my scorpion in that, which is a large flat exoterra, which is way too big. Maybe if it was a really big emperor, I'd keep it in one of them. But for mine, because he was only a small, really small male, or only about 12 centimeters, I'd keep him in something smaller, like I don't know if you can see that, but a medium flat exoterra, which is perfect for most scorpions. And I kept my cockroaches in this, which is a medium tall exoterra. They're both terrariums. That's the main things I use my bugs, because they're perfect and cheap. But yeah, that's what kept him in. I know this has been a bit of a long video, but it was explained 2 stories. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If I missed anything, which I usually do because I'm stupid, but I'll put it in the description. But yeah, if you want any advice on these species, because I've kept them, just ask, because there isn't much. Hissing cockroaches have the most information out there on cockroaches, but summary, it's a bit off depending where you look. So if anyone wants any advice, plus one extra thing which I need to, it's a bit of a thing, do not use hissing cockroaches as feeders. Just don't do it. They're too big. It's stupid because they're such an amazing species. But tarantulas could probably take them, but I wouldn't advise it. But reptiles can actually die from eating them. I've read a few articles where, because the exoskeleton is that hard, they cannot digest them properly, and it can cause impaction. So yeah, because they're really they're tank. That's why they're so hardy. But yeah, that's all I've got to say really. Hopefully you've enjoyed this pet stories, and the next one will be third, which is going to be a mystery. Oh no, I'll just tell you now. The next one's going to be my leopard gecko, which is quite an interesting story. And she's done a poo. Yeah, see you in a bit.